Hi, my name is Rosalie Desmond and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Australia. Today my project that I have to share with you is this cute little puzzle. To create my puzzle, what I have done is I have used a layer of cardstock and stuck a piece of designer series paper, which is the pattern paper, on top of it, and then simply cut it out with a die. And then I've made this little box which stores all my pieces. This makes a really cute, quick gift for a young person. To create the puzzle, I have used a set of thinlet dies called the Puzzle Pieces Thinlet dies. So we have this little puzzle piece, which is 4 pieces by 4 pieces, so it's a 12-piece puzzle. It also comes with a love heart puzzle piece and a big puzzle piece, so you can use any of these elements for your scrapbooking layouts, for cards, and for any other projects that you come up with. Okay, so let's get started on making this puzzle. The first thing I did was I used the Animal Expedition Designer Series paper set. And in my first one, I used this piece to create my puzzle. What I was after some large images to make it easier for the child to put the puzzle back together. I decided this time I wanted to use a different piece. So I have chosen to use a piece of paper which highlights some crocodiles. I simply popped the thinlet over the paper until I got the part of the image I was happy with, and then I cut out a section. This time I'm using crushed curry cardstock to give my puzzle pieces a bit of stability. If I was just to use the designer series paper, it's quite flimsy and flexible. So when we're doing a puzzle, we obviously want it a little bit thicker. So I cut my cardstock at 4 inches by 4 inches, and I cut my DSP just a little bit smaller, just so when I'm gluing it onto my cardstock I don't have to be quite so careful, but it is still bigger than my die. So I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue. Now I want to use a reasonable amount of the glue because when the pieces get cut out, I don't want any of them to lift. Normally I don't use anywhere near this amount of glue, but it's quite appropriate for this project. Just give it a bit of a push down. Now our next step is to pop our thinlet through the big shot and cut it out. And I'll go do that now. I'll be back in a moment. Now, because I was going through a layer of cardstock as well as a layer of DSP, I put it through the big shot twice. And as you can see, all our pieces are all cut out. And that's what this puzzle looks like. Now we're going to work on our box, and for the base we use a piece of 4 inches by 4 inches of shaded spruce cardstock. Shaded spruce is the colour I chose. You can choose whichever you like. I'm going to score that at 1 inch all the way around. then for the top, we use a piece of 3 1/8 by 3 1/8, and we score at 1/2 inch all the way around. Now we grab our snips and we snip up to the score line. Now I find it easier to make sure to go from one side to the other, scoring, cutting them up. And then I just take a wedge out When we take the wedge out, what it means is when we come to fold our box up, our box is going to sit more neatly. Then I do the same to the bottom piece of the box. Now I grab my bone folder and go around all of my score lines. And I do the same for the top. Then I grab my Tombow liquid glue and I pop some adhesive on each of my tabs. Just careful with how I form my corners, and do the same to the other side. Now I do the same to the bottom of my box. Now our box is complete and it's just up to decorating. I used a piece of lemon lime twist cardstock, cut it 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I then used the smallest framelit from my Layering Circles thinlits and cut out the basic black circle. I then used the 1-inch punch and cut out the little crocodile from the DSP. So there you have it. We have a small puzzle and a box to store them in. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.